Hello everyone, welcome to Poland with Ela. I'm Ela and I'll be your guide through the most interesting and beautiful places in Poland, as well as the intricacies of the Polish culture, history and traditions. And today we'll be talking about the Day of the Dead and the holiday of All Saints as it is celebrated in Poland. But before we get to the video, make sure you subscribe to my channel not to miss any of the episodes. First, a disclaimer though. As you could probably see on my thumbnail photo, we will not be talking about Halloween. Of course, we've got Halloween here in Poland. It got here together with all the other Hollywood influences. At the age of globalization, everything that's available in the West is pretty much available here via television or social media. But that's not what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the way we practice these holidays here in Poland for generations now, or as we say in Polish, z dziada pradziada. We celebrate All Saints' Day on the 1st of November, and on the 2nd of November, which is today, we celebrate the Day of the Dead. And let's start with the latter, because it is the traditions of the Day of the Dead in Poland that differ greatly from all the other countries that I've been to. The Day of the Dead in Poland is the day when people visit cemeteries where their loved ones have been buried. People leave candles and flowers on the graves and pray for the redemption of their souls. On those days, as you enter the cemetery, coming from a busy and loud street full of vendors selling those candles and flowers, you suddenly become a part of a different world. The 2nd of November is a workday in Poland, so most people usually come to the cemeteries in the afternoon. And since in Poland it starts getting dark early in the fall and winter, you suddenly feel like you become a part of a mysterious fairy tale. Due to the respect for the deceased, people communicate in whispers. There's thousands, if not millions, of candles burning on all the graves and memorials. It's magical. I love this atmosphere of whispers, reverie, and prayer. Just like in the mountains, it gives us time and space to distance ourselves from the daily struggles and look at our lives. As some say, czas ucieka, wieczność czeka. Time flies, eternity awaits. When my grandma was alive and I used to visit her, we'd go to the cemetery together to leave a candle and pray at my grandpa's grave. But my grandma always wanted to visit other graves as well, and to be honest, I was a little bit annoyed because she'd go every week to visit the graves of her friends from the past. Until one day I asked her why would she want to do that. She didn't have much strength at the time, and she told me she's networking. So when she passed away, I was very sad, but I was also very sure that she's gonna have someone up there to play bridge with. She's networked enough already. Of course, it's not always so magical and beautiful. Sometimes this holiday turns into a contest of who's got a nicer and a cleaner grave. For several days before the Day of the Dead, the cemeteries are packed. People come in to wash the graves, clean them from leaves, exchange the flowers withered by the weather, and put new candles on the graves, so that as the date comes, the graves of their loved ones will be spotless. A day before, on the 1st of November, is All Saints' Day, celebrated by Christians all around the world. Halloween, which is on the eve of All Saints' Day, is actually an American spin-off from these ancient days of prayer. All Saints' Day is a mandatory holiday in the Catholic Church. On that day, holiday masses are celebrated, and a few days before and after, parties and balls are held where people, especially children, dress up as their favorite and or their patron saints. There is over 200 saints that come from Poland, but today I would like to talk about some of the most influential Polish saints from the 20th century, which I must say were pretty amazing people. Let's start with one which is known all around the world and not just to Christians. Pope John Paul II was the first non-Italian pope in 455 years. He traveled abroad extensively in an effort to promote greater understanding between countries and religions, and he campaigned against political oppression, violence, and materialism. Known as the Pilgrim Pope, he survived an assassination attempt in 1981. I'd like to give you a little more insight though about his life from the Polish point of view. He was born as Karol Wojtyła in 1920 in the town of Wadowice. When he was 9 years old, his mother died. His father took him and his brother to the popular pilgrimage site Kalwaria Zebrzydowska. He entrusted his children to the Virgin Mary, asking her to be the mother to his children. Karol Wojtyła was always a great student. He was interested in theater. As he joined college, he chose Polish studies in the philosophy department. He could not finish his studies though, because World War II broke out. During the war, he started a theater company with his friends. He left it when he decided to join clandestine school for priests in 1942. After World War II has ended, for him, as well as for many others, it was very difficult to be a priest under the communist regime. Secret police was everywhere, and people were blackmailed to tell on each other. The communist puppet government controlled from Moscow considered the Catholic Church its #1 enemy. Many priests were persecuted during that time, but Karol Wojtyła did not let that get to him. He loved spending time with the youth, who called him uncle. He'd organize trips to the nature and especially loved the mountains and the highland region, of what he reminded its people as he came back to visit Poland as a pope later on. Many people argue that it is thanks to John Paul II that communism ended in Poland. Although he didn't speak much of politics, what he said uplifted the spirits of Poles oppressed by the communist system.
Niech stąpi duch Twój i odnowi oblicze ziemi, tej ziemi.
As he became a pope, the communist authorities did not want John Paul II to visit Poland, but the Polish pope was determined to support his people. And he argued that if he's not welcomed in Poland as the head of the Catholic Church, he will come as a Pole. The communist authorities could not let themselves lose face like this, so they have welcomed John Paul II in Poland, literally with trembling knees. In the country where public gatherings were strictly not allowed, in each Mass the Polish Pope celebrated, hundreds of thousands of people and even up to 1.5 million would gather. These were the moments that the Poles saw that they are stronger than the oppressive government controlled from Moscow, and that if they put their strengths together, they can overcome it. The rest is history. There are some other saints that lived in Poland during the communist period. Martyrs like Blessed Jerzy Popiełuszko, who was attacked and tortured to death by the communist secret police, or Cardinal Stefan Wyszyński, who was held hostage for 3 years by the communist authorities. These saints gave people hope and faith and helped their spirits survive in the times of oppression. I will be making more videos like that in the future. Let me know in the comments if there is anything specific that you would like to know about this time in Polish history and the people who have come out as heroes. Saint Maximillian Kba is known for his heroic death in Auschwitz during World War II, after he volunteered to take the place of another prisoner in the concentration camp's starvation bunker. After a Polish prisoner tried to escape the camp, the German SS security forces selected 10 prisoners to starve to death as a lesson for the entire camp. One of the prisoners chosen to die was Franciszek Gajowniczek. He asked for mercy. As Gajowniczek recalled later, Father Kba told the commandant that he wanted to go instead of him, because he was a single Catholic priest, and Gajowniczek had a wife and children. But apart from this heroic act in the face of such evil, Maximillian Kba was a Renaissance man throughout his life. A Franciscan father and a missionary, in the beginning of the 1920s, he started a publishing house that published religious newspapers and magazines by monks, including their greatest work, The Night of the Immaculata. In this way, he wanted to spread religious knowledge to as many people as possible. Largely due to his efforts, Niepokalanów, which translates to the town of the Immaculate, is the largest Catholic monastery in the world, with the only monastic fire brigade in the world, the oldest Catholic radio station in Poland, and a museum of papal vehicles. Maximillian Kba spent 6 years in Japan, where, as his legacy, he left the Japanese Niepokalanów, which still operates today in Nagasaki. And all of this before he gave his life away for a prisoner in Auschwitz. There is some fake news circulating about this saint. The main one refers to Maximillian Kba as an anti-Semite. I did some research on that while I was preparing to make this video, and I found out that he was actually the opposite. While he was in Nagasaki, he wrote to the editor of one of the dailies that he founded not to arouse or deepen hatred towards Jews in the readers. He then wrote that their primary goal is always the conversion and sanctification of souls, that is, winning them for the Immaculate, love for all souls, Jews, Freemasons, and others. Kba founded Niepokalanów in 1927. From the very beginning, there were good relations with the Jews. A Franciscan brother who was in charge of building said that when he asked around in different shops and factories for help, they received most building material donations from Jewish owners rather than the Catholic ones. As some witnesses recall, because Maximillian Kba had a long missionary beard and when traveling he wore a black hat and a long black habit, he was often mistaken for a Jew. But it didn't bother him, it just made him smile. And speaking about his beard, his fellow brother cut off Kba's beard for him in 1939, that's before Kba was taken to Auschwitz. As the brother tried to save the beard, Kba objected and told him to throw it in the stove. So obediently the brother threw it in the stove, but the fire was not lit. So the brother later retrieved it and stored it in a pickle jar. Today, Kba's beard is his only surviving first-class relic. Even if many people might not recall her name, the painting of Jesus of the Divine Mercy that was made due to her efforts is present in many Catholic churches all around the world. She was a simple girl from a village. Since she was very young, she was saying that Jesus talks to her. She wanted to become a nun, but since her family was poor, her parents did not want her to go to a convent and wanted her to help support the family instead. But after a few years, she managed to convince her parents and became a nun. As told by her confessor, she wrote a diary, which now is read all around the world. She suffered from tuberculosis of the lungs and digestive tract and died at the age of 33, 1 year before World War II broke out. Her life, though from the outside very simple, was full of spiritual experiences out of this world. A truly interesting saint indeed. The Ulm family is the most recent addition to the group of the Polish saints and blessed. Józef and Wiktoria Ulmowie, with 7 children, were a Polish Catholic family from Markowa. During the Nazi German occupation in World War II, they attempted to rescue Polish Jewish families by hiding them in their own home during the Holocaust. In Poland, the German occupation was much more cruel and systematic than in other countries. For rescuing a Jew, Nazis would kill the whole family, and many times also their neighbors, sometimes the whole village. So being discovered meant death. And this is what happened to the Ulm family. Both Józef and Wiktoria, who gave birth to her youngest as she was dying, and the rest of their children were executed on 24th of March 1944. Despite the murder of the Ulm family, their neighbors continued to hide the Jewish fugitives until the end of World War II in Europe. At least 21 Polish Jews survived in Markowa until the end of occupation of Poland by Nazi Germany. The Ulm family is regarded as righteous among nations and are venerated in the Catholic Church as martyrs. And to end with, I would like to tell you about a person who is very close to my heart. She's not a saint yet, but in December 2022, the preparation process for her beatification has begun. I met Helenka in a volunteering organization. She was an amazing person, funny, smart, charming, empathetic, and beautiful inside and out. She was killed in Bolivia in January of 2017 at the age of 25 And although it's very sad that such a wonderful person was taken from this world way too early, I'm really grateful that I got to know her and share some amazing experiences with her. Even though she was younger than me, I felt like she was the one taking care of me. She inspired me in so many ways and taught me how to be a better person. And what's really interesting is that when we traveled together, I told her about my ideas of starting a vlog and wanted to experiment a bit before I get it started. And she helped me so much, gave me so many cool ideas, and actually participated and co-produced that experimental vlog that we did. So I can say that actually she's with me on that as well. Sometimes I feel like she's looking at me from up there, smiling, trying to make me do better. And that's how I actually understand the phrase of the credo of the communion of saints and life everlasting, that the saints are helping us out from up there and that saints are actually among us. That's it from me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe so you're up to date on all the videos I'm making every week, and take care.